G'day guys and welcome back to the Starswift Chronicles. My name is Michael from Ask a Pathfinder, and with me of course is the illustrious crew of the Starswift. G'day guys!
Hello.
Hey.
So this is now episode 2 of our adventures through the desolate and somewhat vast regions of Braxian space as these valiant adventurers continue their adventures to try and rescue basically a derelict mining ship, as far as they're aware. For that, we will be looking at one of our crew members to recap last week's adventures, and for that, I will turn to the Golden Dice of Destiny as we see who is going to recap. And this week, it will be Bastian Fell, as played by Bon.
Hello. Hey, guys. So, last time on the Starswift, we had ourselves a little encounter where we're out and about going to a derelict, what's it called? Little rescue craft where we found a goblin that was hooked up to a lifeline that was set to explode unless we did the right thing to get him off. And the moment we get him aboard the ship, we find out there's a little weird creature that seemed to happen upon the ship as we grabbed everyone. It was a small, weird, creepy little cybernetic hand that we had to chase pretty much everywhere, causing all the havoc. After that, we ran into some pirates that decided to not take a liking to our captain's light caress of his pilot. Oh, I wish that worked out better. We were so close. We shipped up and we got everything working just to blast off into the homing beacon for our other ship that we're trying to take. What is it called again? The someone help me out here.
Della Milani.
Della Milani, that's correct. Yeah. We finally arrived into its space. And we got our goblin to wake up and tell us what the heck was going on. And now we're kind of just trying to catch up and figure out if we should go to the ship or not. Because apparently something really crafty is going on. And we don't really trust the guy who hired us.
Indeed. And for all that information, you can check out last week's episode. But we shall continue forward as you are currently in the meeting room with the goblin known as Track, as he is unfolding the story that he understands to you guys. He has informed you that his mining crew, which was working for the Harkonnen Company under the command of Bylor Delarossi, had hired a vessel off the Kaimokanen under the instruction of the Sajet to try and mine a very rare and specific type of lithelium. Lithelium obviously being a type of fuel, but blood lithelium, as it is being coined, has an unknown purpose and is incredibly rare and difficult to mine. As the operations had occurred, the goblin had seen something. All right, mate. So listen. Look, I know that you guys are here to help, and I know you guys are here to go and search the Della Milani and all that, but...
Is my ship in danger?
Well, you will be if you head up onto that asteroid, mate. Like, what I saw there was this... can you imagine, right, people you've eaten with, people you've slept with, all of a sudden, just everyone aboard the ship started working in complete silence. They just...
It would be a blissful occasion.
Yeah, I mean, like not a noise, not a peep, not a word.
Sounds like a dream for the captain.
Yes, I often imagine that, as a matter of fact.
So I was down on the asteroid. I'd found an ore and I followed route protocol. I loaded it up. I brought it to the ship. The guy waiting for me, he didn't say anything to me. He just stared at me like I had a dinosaur head or something. I went inside off my shift. The cook served up food. Not a word. I went through and I saw some of my dearest friends. Again, nothing. Absolute nothing. I started to worry, so I went up to the command bay. And they were all there just working. But do you understand how terrifying this is?
Yes,
Wait,
productive
so-
co-workers.
Well, I look. I knew something was wrong straight away, mate. I just grabbed all my stuff and I spat the dummy. I ran, and I fair dinkum got into into the first escape pod I could find and jetted away from that place.
Did no one try to stop you?
Well, yeah, one of them did actually. We had an android aboard. One of the techs. He just tried to stop me, but he wouldn't have a bar of it. Chopped his goddamn hand off. But
did he yell? Did they have some sort of what was going on? I mean, why are they so robotic? What was happening? I mean, considering the fact it is an android, let's forget that fact. But why is everyone so silent?
That's pretty funny. But yeah, I don't know. Even when I chopped his hand off, even when his hand left his physical form, not a peep.
What about this blood litholium? Was it aboard the ship? How much have you mined of it since you had gotten there?
Probably 3 units, 4 units. Units, by the way, is about a ton.
Why are you mining it?
It's what's on the docket. The Sujet, they hired the ship, and we were just to deliver it to the coordinates.
Wait, so you're telling me that this thing that you don't really know anything about, you just took control of it? Why would you do this? I mean, honestly, this doesn't seem good. Why didn't you try to grab anyone else?
Whoa! Listen, buddy. Okay, I don't know about you, but goblins, we don't get liked too much. Okay, so many people are associating us with pirates half the time. I just want to keep my job, and I just want to keep my head right. I asked people. I swear, I ran up and down the halls of that ship, and I couldn't find a single person who said anything to me.
All right. Well,
Mr. Fell, it sounds to me like we have someone who has deserted his post and is trying to fabricate a reason as to why he would have abandoned his ship and his crewmates.
Whoa!
Yes, this goblin was simply trying to get home, realized that he was too far into the red zone to make a meaningful difference, and so has concocted this story in the hopes of not being dishonorably discharged as a mutineer. Please will you lay a course for the Della Milani at maximum speed so that we can make contact with the captain if she's still alive. I am sure they will be happy to find that we have found their little AWOL goblin, and we can render whatever assistance we might need.
Look,
Captain.
But what are you going to do with me? Look, you can't take me back. You can't. I mean, it's suicide. I mean, I'll be strung up. I'll be killed.
You're absolutely right. Mr. Zaguti, would you please open the airlock door? Our passenger wishes to walk home.
Oh, you know what? How about I just I'll just find a broom closet. I'll be all right. Yeah. Just
You will stay with me until Mr. Keene is suitably repaired, and then he will make sure that you do not go anywhere. We don't need you abandoning our ship as well.
You kind of get a glimpse in his eye as though he had actually been pondering stealing one of your escape pods, and now he sort of has resigned himself to this. He sort of nods very sheepishly as you begin to approach the asteroid before you. As mentioned, this large, porous rock that seems to float amidst its many brethren seem to have many openings that are large enough for you to fly the ship through. But within, there are littered amounts of darkness and rays of light from a nearby star that seem to penetrate and perforate the interior of the rock. As you begin your approach, the lights seem to pass over, almost like you're being scanned. I mean, you're not actually being scanned, but just to give you the image of how it feels as you move through, as the waves of light sort of hit you. Could I get someone to make me a computing check as they begin to scan the rock for, either signs of life, a ship? Don't scan for lithelium, because it's everywhere.
It's literally everywhere, yeah. I got a 14.
14. With a 14, your scans are actually deep and hard enough that you can actually see some very well. What are you scanning for? Life signs or the ship signature?
Well, last time you already got the ship signature, so this time I'm going for life signs.
Okay. So with the life signs, you find that there's a few anomalies that make it kind of difficult for you to scan. There are small patches of life signs, which almost looks like maybe a fungus is growing on the asteroid or something like that. But you do see a concentration of what appear to be humanoids coming from beyond what looks to be a dead end for the ship. There are small perforations in this large wall that eventually you sort of find yourself towards, but you will not be able to take the ship through there.
All right, Captain, there seems to be a few life signs going on ahead, but there's also a very strange fungus that seems to be growing about the asteroid. I'm not too sure if we should... I'm very, very sure that we should go in with weapons loaded and try to make sure that we are aware that we might be going into something we're not ready for, because they're not spread about the ship, and it's definitely not going to be able to be passable if we try to take ours in.
All right. Mr. Zagutu, does that fungus, can you patch into the sensors? Can you tell us if that poses any threat to the ship?
What would that check be?
Life sciences.
Oh, no. I tell him, like, I'm not a science officer, sir. I'm just an engineer.
We don't have a scientist.
All right. But would you then please make sure to monitor the ship to see that we don't suddenly develop a fungal growth at all?
Okay, I can do that.
Excellent. Mr. Keane, how are your repairs coming?
I think I need more morphine. Sammy, come on.
Right away, sir. Yes, please. Just hold still.
Medbot 7, is he going to be able to leave the ship or not?
Yes, if he simply has a 10-minute rest, I'm sure I can get him up to snuff.
Don't snuff me.
I see what you did there. Humor. How organic. All right, so that is 8 points of healing. So that'll only heal your hit points. You will then need to spend a resolve and take a 10-minute rest, and you can restore all of your stamina to full.
Done and done.
Mr. Fell, can we contact that ship, do you think?
Well, let's see if... Real quick, Emrith, can you see if there are any outgoing communication signals going on or any signs that they want to be contacted? Or is there anything that's going on with their ship so far?
I'm not detecting any signatures from a vessel of any variety. There is no communications, and I can't even pick up a short-range radio wave. If they are using communications, sir, it's not by any detected means that I can find through the electronic scans.
Okay, are there any power signals that are currently on that we could try to follow or see if we could have a trace to?
There are 4 notable power signatures. Several of them seem to be along the network of tunnels to the north, to north of the ship. And you can also see there are 2 other power sources which are in close proximity to one another, both of which are in a larger chamber forward and, I believe, above where we currently are orientated.
I look at the goblin. Now, since we rescued you, what is this operation? This is the mining facility, I'm assuming.
Yeah, look, this is the ore. This is the asteroid that we were mining.
Where is the Della Milani?
The Della Milani, well, it's probably the one forward and above where we are currently. But listen, I really don't think you should go there, mate. Look, I mean, I know you've got your opinion of me, and God be praised that I've tried all my life to try and counter that. But if you're insisting on going, you want to head down that tunnel, okay? And you want to make sure you watch your step. There's perforations everywhere on the ground, and dark against dark with a dark hole,
I want an insight check to see if I believe he's lying or not.
You may absolutely. It is a sense motive check against him.
Sense motive check, yeah, that's right. It's not a great start. So that's 14.
With a 14, you believe that he is telling the truth in what he is saying. You believe that there are most likely perforations in the rock that match that description. As for the directions, it also seems to match up with the direction that you were being told to go to. But you get a strong sense like he is missing or he is omitting a lot of information here.
I draw my laser pistol and point it at him.
Hey, whoa.
Apart from my crew, no one else knows that you were survived your little escape attempt, so I can make sure that you didn't. What are you holding out?
Okay, you wouldn't believe me if I told you, okay? Look, okay. Listen, the people, that's not maybe all I saw, okay? When I went up there, there was some kind of egg in the cargo bay. Look, we never put it there, okay? I never seen it before. I've never came across it. We weren't here to hunt eggs. There's no life signs on this planet, right? It's not like there's a whole bunch of these eggs lying around.
And you're sure that's it?
Look, okay, I didn't want to mention it because, hell, I didn't think you'd get this far. And honestly, I mean, hey, your man, he kind of wanted to steal my knife, and you tried to shoot me. I mean, look, survival is what I'm all about, mate. And I just have no intention of getting shot. Like this ain't how Trax dies.
Trax,
what about this egg? Sorry, Mr. Phil, carry on.
Trax, when I heard from you, Samson said you were a trustworthy guy. I need you to describe that egg for me. There's a weird fungal growth that's happening on the asteroid too. Can you tell me anything about that? Can you tell us anything about that?
Yeah, there's like this sticky, viney, ropey stuff. When we first landed, there wasn't much of it, but then, like, the longer we stayed there, the more that sort of seemed to spring up in patches. We didn't think, it's more annoying than anything else.
How much personal contact did you have with it?
Not much. I heard that one guy fell into a big patch of it, and he needed a couple of guys to use the grav guns to pull him out. But stories are stories,
How did he feel, or how did he act after touching the fungi?
Look, everyone, and I mean literally everyone. Right. It's like my mother-in-law at me and my ex-wife's wedding. Right? Nothing. Pizza face.
If I might have a word with my colleague, Mr. Fell, can we have a word? We'll lock the goblin in the observation room.
Understood, sir. Trax, you want to just follow me? I'll get you something to eat, and we'll calm you down a little bit.
Oh yeah, dude. That sounds fantastic. I could really use a sandwich.
All right, Captain. I'll leave the bridge up here. I would say, I don't know. It's you and Elias trying to figure out what our game plan is once we land, because I don't know what we're dealing with, and I'm not too fond of getting out of this ship right now.
All right. So as Bastian escorts your guest to the observatory with sandwich in hand, we go to the engineering bay where, the cargo bay, where Doliag has put the final touches onto Simon to reinstall him into the medical bay that is attached to the back of the Starswift current. Simon looks down to you. Oh, thank you, Master Doliag. It seems to be quite a sizable fit.
You've got a little dent there on your head.
Oh yes, I did notice this. I'm not sure where I got it from, but I know that this one came from Master Keen, who managed to knock me to my senses, which I'm quite grateful for. But I was quite fond of my symmetry.
I think I got a way to fix that.
Oh,
Yeah. And then I go off and try and find a wig, like a mop.
yeah. Without looking too far, you find a cleaning closet. You sort of open it up, and some brooms and some mops and stuff like that sort of fall out.
There you are. And I take one of the mops and bring it back, and I'm like, "This will make you look fantastic."
So he sort of holds the soggy mop, and he says, "Oh, it definitely feels organic."
Then I take off the end.
He sort of puts it on, and he brushes the mop reeds over to one side and gives himself a 7x3 part. Does that look all right?
Yeah, it looks great. Then
Excellent.
check him to see if there was any more damage, particularly with his ability to.
Make an engineering check.
Nice. That is a 13.
13?
Mm-hmm.
With a 13, you realize that there's an anomaly in his programming. You can choose to activate the anomaly, or you could choose to leave the anomaly isolated.
Simon, there seems to be a problem.
Oh, is there? Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna have to run some diagnostics. And then I start to turn it on.
He sort of says, "I'm not sure if you should do the."
Whoops!
As he snaps his head back up after passing out, he looks at you, and his eyes go from this soft blue to this bright orange with tiny little red dots in the middle. Hey, you! Who do you think you're tinkering around with? I will take you, rip out your spine, and use it as a hopscotch! You wiggly little bitty! You get back here! If I could reach you, I will snap you and skin you and make a pelt!
Jump back.
The robot is just sort of angrily trying to claw and scratch at you. But thankfully, you've actually pulled out the piece of the device you were tinkering with in your hand, and you have literally an on and off switch.
Then I turn it off and on.
I was Oh, sir, did the diagnostics go well? Is everything okay? I will destroy you and everything you love! You get me out of this wall and
okay, and then I turn it back to Simon, and then I send him. I open comms with the captain and say, "I think I found a combat droid."
What? Where? No, look, I can't be anywhere near combat. I'm so frail. Please.
A combat?
Where is I? Then I leave the med bay area where he is to go and have the conversation.
All right. Meanwhile, however,
What in the world did I just watch?
Elias, sitting on a bed, has literally just seen this all happen. And he's sort of like half trying to keep quiet as he's watching Dulyug mess around. And like Dulyug sort of like looked behind him, and Elias is sort of like, as Dulyug walks away, Elias, you're alone in the med bay with Simon.
Alrighty. Hi, Simon.
Oh, sir, you're okay. You're awake.
Oh yeah, I'm feeling fine. Thank you. Thank you for all that medical attention. So, a quick question. Have you ever had any dwarvish personality traits? How old are you?
Oh, I'm actually 12 years old. And I actually, yes, now that you mention it, I was actually originally built as a dwarven service drone. They called us the Quintexoc. The Quintexoc we were supposed to go down into deep and dangerous places and, yes, offer rescue and aid where that's required. Oddly enough, a job very well suited for our current occupation as hired by the Kaya Morkanen, as this whole medbay is as well.
Right.
Why do you ask?
You know, I'm just gonna gonna take. What kind of communication system do I have? Do I have like a screen? Do I have like an iPhone, or like what's typical?
You have two things. You have, first of all, your visor, which you can put on at any point if you desire, because it's part of your helmet, and you can use a augmented reality screen in order to communicate visually. Alternatively, you also have a PDA on your hand, which allows you to use audio communication or text-based communications.
All right, so I start kind of like going on with what I was doing. I'm like tapping on the screen. I go over, what is the temperament of these dwarvish rescue droids? Do you have any memories or anything?
No, not really. They usually wipe our memories before and after any particular mission, stops from information from passing through when it's sensitive. As one can imagine, we are not immune to the misgivings of certain very computer-savvy individuals. Very prone to tampering, we are.
Yeah, about that. So, what they do. You have a chance to learn something there, Simon. I think we might have found a latent memory. There we go. And I'll show him the last 30 seconds of what went on.
That's not possible.
Anything's possible in space. It's infinite possibilities. Simon, I think you should really get deep and down with your, I suppose, masculinity or aggression.
But I have no aggression, sir. I'm a medical bot. I think I'm going to be sick.
You can't be sick, and you shouldn't shy away from the darker parts of your bowels. Just don't let them control you. Simon, I want you to take this moment and really kind of own it. I believe in you. You fixed my arm. Oh, dear Lord, you're actually going to be sick.
All right, as Simon struggles to come to terms with his, other, meanwhile, of course, Ulrich and Bastian have pulled themselves aside, having left the goblin in the observatory for their discussion about how to proceed. I believe a message has also been sent to Elias and Doliag to join them so that they may discuss the approach of the asteroid. And within a few moments, you are all together in the meeting room or the bridge.
Good to see that you're healed up, Mr. Keene. Now, Mr. Zigutu, we have a rather interesting situation at hand. There may be an alien object, an egg of some kind aboard the Della Milani. There may, of course, also be some kind of influence between the ship and this fungal growth on the asteroid, as it seems to have proliferated since the arrival of the ship. At the moment, this fungal growth does not appear to be particularly dangerous, just rather adhesive, which has required several individuals who've become trapped in it the assistance of grappling hooks to actually get themselves out. So before we set foot onto this asteroid or onto the ship, I would request that you fashion some kind of grappling device that we can fire from a distance of about 10 meters or more to catch onto a surface so we might pull ourselves out of anything that we might get stuck in. Does that make sense?
Why don't we just destroy it?
I'm not entirely sure that we'll be able to. If it was simply a case of burning it, I think the colonists, or at least the miners, would have done so. So it seems to me as if one can step into this stuff without really noticing it until it's too late. So I'd rather have an exit plan than a preemptive plan. I'm sure Mr. Keene will do his best to destroy it anyway. But failing that, an exit strategy always makes sense.
And let's also not forget that this is a highly explosive area with all the fuel around us. Probably not the best idea. And there's a little fun you might have because there's some generators out there. So that means you might be able to play with some electricity and some weapons of some sort. We're not really sure. Some mining things out there that you might be able to play around with.
You have an hour to come up with the necessary device. Is that sufficient time?
Yeah? Dolly? Yeah?
Yeah, sure.
All right, I'm going to trust in you. I think you got it. If you need to, just tell us if you need any help. Just warn us if you make something we don't... Well, you know what?
I need more time to make a device for all of us. Well, for you three.
We'll find attachments. I'm hoping your drone's going to be able to fly you wherever you need to go.
Hopefully.
All right, we'll check on that.
Should be fine.
Yeah.
So what exactly did we learn from our little friend, wherever he is?
He's currently in the observation room, which is where I'd like him to stay until we have finished our mission. Mr. Keene, what is the largest ordnance that we have on board this ship?
No, we got the typical cannons, and we could dismantle some of the charges, but that'd be pretty reckless. So I'm all for it. What do I know about the ship's ordnances?
You know that the ship has one primary turret, which is making me pull out big books. How dare you?
Ooh, it's books time.
Yes, it's books time.
It's good for your arms.
It is. It gives me some... This is the only exercise we nerds know how to do.
It is.
Looking at that. Mr. Fell, I am not convinced that we necessarily need to go into the mining system. I think if we board the ship, we should get all the information we want. After all, we're here to assist the Della Milani. If operations are continuing as normal, then we have no mission.
Well, currently, sir, there are no signs of communications heading in or out of the ship, and electronics are down to a bare minimum. So the only way that we can get there is taking the generator systems and taking that path.
But wait, the people are fine.
There's been no contact that we could make with them. Their communications are currently cut off. There's no way to contact or to reach them besides going there ourselves.
Well, that doesn't sound fine.
Yeah, it's not a good sign. And also, there's not very good signs of life either. There's some contracted into or concentrated into a small area farther back into the ship, but we can't reach it with ours the way it is right now. It's just too big to reach the area.
But boarding the ship makes the most sense then, if you say that they're concentrated within the ship.
It's true. It is. They are in the back corner of the ship, but we can't reach them without going through this system or going through the mining areas to get to them.
How did the ship get to where it is then? Surely there must be an entrance point.
Well, that is a really good question. Hold for our GM here to do some searching.
You know that the ship, the Della Milani, is slightly smaller than yours. So while there may possibly, because you only scan for entrances large enough to house the Starswift, there could very easily be an entrance that was small enough to house their mining vessel. Plus, in addition, a lot of the mining vehicles from the Kaimokanan, particularly the smaller ones, do have ways of perforating rock to make some extra room for them.
Right, it is a specialty mining ship. I keep forgetting that.
Right. All right, then, Mr. Keene, we have to do what you do so best. We're going to have to board the asteroid, make our way towards the ship.
I will lend my experience and expertise to the crews. We all may have a jolly well time.
To answer the ordnance question prior, to your port and your starboard, you have a light laser cannon, and attached to your turret, you have a single coil gun.
Coil gun?
Indeed. A coil gun basically has a riveted coil that generates flow similar to that of a railgun, except rather than sort of an infinite loop that constantly increases inertial blasting, it takes energy and runs it through in waves before releasing a highly concentrated particle beam.
All right. Sexy teeth thing, lady. Could you please tell me what how are the batteries for the laser cannons a part of the ship, or can we take them out?
That is correct. The ship currently uses the the power core units to power the weapons aboard the vessel.
Sorry, brother. We don't have any explosives on the ship, besides the one the Goblin brought on. Funny enough, which I think we should really consider bringing along. Maybe.
Right, then I think that's your priority then, is to please get those explosives ready so that we might use them if we need to.
I'll take care of it.
Mr. Fell, I don't like the idea of being stranded on an asteroid with my ship floating out there where we can't get to her. Is there any way that you could land her on the asteroid so that we could all disembark, as much as I know that you do not like to disembark the Starswift? I feel it is in our interests to have you along, considering that you are the most experienced when it comes to xeno matters out of all of us. Mr. Zagutu might pride himself on his engineering skill, but his knowledge of alien species is sorely lacking. And Mr. Keynes is non-existent. You are our expert. So I will require you to come with us, I'm afraid.
All right, Captain. All right. I'm gonna need. I'll go to the med bay and get some shots real quick before we do. Just to let you know, I'll start looking for a path right now to see if we can land somewhere that is close to the mining paths that we'll have to take to reach the ship. I'll try to make it as short as possible.
Thank you.
Emerith, do you mind scanning a path for us and setting a few security measures so that way our little friend and our ship do not get destroyed?
Certainly. With that, you can hear several locks being applied to the observation deck, and you basically watch as the as the ship begins to orientate itself for landing. Now, the Starswift is a very unique vessel in that it is an adaptive vessel, meaning it basically suits whatever terrain it happens to be on. So as it attempts to land, its large sort of fin-like appendages go from being horizontal to being vertical. So my fingers don't actually do that, but but it basically lands in reverse as the ship has its prongs stretch outwards, almost like spider claws, which then dig into the various bits of rock and lower the rear of the ship down onto the surface of the asteroid with relative ease. Now, the power core and the cargo bay are gyroscopically synced. So as they do so, they lock to the tidal position, allowing you currently to walk down towards the power core area and then adjust onto the surface of the asteroid where the gravity is the strongest.
I do want to do some quick research, and I will ask the Goblin if I need more information on these eggs, or this egg that he's carrying. I wanted to sort of look into the Arcanet and just see what is out there in terms of any descriptions of large eggs. I'll get the Goblin to describe its color and its shape and size and that sort of thing, to try and see if there's anything in the databanks.
The Goblin is less than helpful in regards to the description because, I mean, he basically says, look, I only got a glimpse of it. It was a white egg. That's all I kind of know. It was about the size of me, maybe. So it was a big one, I guess, if you want to call that big. And as you sort of scan to try and access the infonet, it basically returns with signal not found. Being in the red, you are quite a distance away from the main infonet hub and are thus unable to access it from where you are.
I will keep that surprise for later.
All right. Meanwhile, heading down into the cargo bay, Elias is wrenching apparently the bombs out of the pod. You can make me an engineering check as you attempt to disarm, as you attempt to remove it safely.
Okay, engineering, and hey, stop that. Stop being overexposed. All right. Engineering check, that will be 15.
With a 15, you dislodge them, dismantle it from its housing. You feel as though it's still got a trigger. Now, I wouldn't do this yourself, but you could probably find a good engineering check to will allow you to set a timer or set a fuse to the bomb. You have 3 in total that can be turned into grenades.
Okay. All right, I'll take the Captain.
Yes.
We got 3 charges, probably about 3 grenades worth. However, it's going to require someone with a little bit more know-how than I to set them off. So, we'll have to give them to Deliog unless you want to, just throw them in a basket someplace.
You can give them to Mr. Daliog. I think he's probably the best person to handle explosives.
All right. I'll take care of it then. And I'll go off and find Deliog. Deliog!
I'm working! Why? Why can't I get it back here?
What's the problem? What's going on?
Everyone's asking me to do everything. I'm only one guy. I'm only one little good furry thing.
And I put it aside. I was actually coming here to see if you wanted help.
Okay. And I give him a long list of things to find.
Dear. Okay.
Yep. Roll an engineering check as you try to decipher what Doliog is yelling at you.
Natural 1.
Doliog has asked you to bring a Skrindle Slatch to him. He as he's working, you kind of get the impression that he's really busy, and you don't want to look like you don't know what you're doing. So you begin to look for things with labels. As you are pouring through the countless boxes of tools.
What's this? What is that thing? Where is it?
A what? Sorry.
A scribble scrap. What is? Fuck, what was it?
A scribble scrap, sir?
Yeah. It's what you want again?
I'm busy.
And don't worry about it. And then I'm going to go over. My hand. I gotta get back to the medical bay. I'll be right back.
No, get out of here.
I just wipe the.
All right.
I was like, oh, gee.
As you leave, Doliog giggles a bit, realizing that a Skrindle Slatch is actually not a thing. As he continues to work on his new tools, Doliog, can you make me an engineering check and tell me what it is you're trying to build?
So a 13 and simply grappling hook kind of device that kind of more harpoon-like instead of.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so that's simple enough, and I'm happy to say that you've produced 2 of them in the hour that you will spend on them. So you have 2 of them, and each have 2 charges in them. So they will both fire 1 harpoon, which can be attached to a basically a bit of fiber cable. In addition, if you want to, you can dislodge the fiber cable, and there's a second harpoon that's just on the side of it. That'll go in and fire a second one. But once that second one's gone, there are no more harpoons for it.
Yep.
And I, after a little bit, I'll text Doliog that there is some explosives in a bucket the captain wanted him to have for this mission.
All right, make an engineering check. Doliog?
What?
Oh, okay. That would be a 10.
10? Oh, dear. Make a reflex save.
Natural 1.
Oh, they're cursed. They're cursed, I tell you.
Okay, so the first one. Okay, make me another reflex save.
That would be a 12.
Oh. Okay, and make me one last one.
That would be a 9.
Oh, golly, no.
I'm being overworked. The stress of the job, it's getting on me.
All right, Dolyug, you are the proud owner of 17 points of damage as a immense explosion seems to come from the mechanicals tech room. There is smoke, there is alarms, there is fire. You can see on screen to the captain that a large explosion has happened in the tech bay. That the fire suppressants have been added into the air.
Dolyug has been incapacitated and is bleeding out on the floor.
Spend 2 resolve points. That stands you up,
Good to
right?
report.
Yep, 2 resolve will stand you back up. As
Wait.
as basically he's gone to tinker with it, he sort of picked it up and he goes, I wonder what this does. And it went boom. But then not only did it go boom because of the natural one, sadly, it was within the vicinity of the 2 other explosives, which very shortly and abruptly also exploded, sending shards of metal literally everywhere. This is like the worst place for an explosion to have occurred, next to the power core, as shards of metal are just everywhere. In addition, the 2 harpoons you just created have also been caught up in this explosion and have harpooned various important documents to the wall.
One that says clean the hall.
One that says clean tech shop.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to use a point to stabilize, and then I'm going to wait for someone else to come.
All right, so let's do this in initiative as a fire is breaking out in that area. But again, as I said, being suppressed. But let's see what happens. Let's start with everyone's initiative.
10.
10 for Auric.
13.
13 for all this technology in. Aha, there we go. 10,
And paper.
14, yep.
16.
16, Dolyug.
11.
All right. The fast-acting pilot is up first. Now, again, you are in the bridge area. You've landed. You've successfully landed the vessel when the alert has come up.
All right. I'll bring up. Was it Simon? Simon onto my comms and say, Simon, I need you down to from the med bay right now to where are we going? To the engineering bay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. To the engineering bay. Hopefully, can he make it on his own? Is that a thing he can do?
Oh, you need me in the engineering bay, do you? Well, how about you come here and pry me off the goddamn wall before you ask me something so stupid again? Hey!
All right. He's a little salty.
If you come down here, I tell you what, and you
close off immediately. Elias, can you actually go grab him? I think some of my magic can help out Dolyug, so I'm going to try and go down there and stabilize him a bit.
Well, sure, I guess.
Okay, all right. And then I start running off to our little Dolly.
Okay.
Hopefully not die.
All right, Elias, you've heard the comms coming from your pilot requesting that you go and help Dolly.
No, he told me to go and get Simon off the wall.
Oh, did he? Oh, my apologies. Yeah. Sorry, I missed. Yeah, I don't know what I heard. Okay, so you rush over to the med bay. As you do so, you can see Simon sort of leaning up against the wall. For some reason or another, he seems to have like a bit of pipe in his mouth. And this black smog seems to just be pouring out of him. Now, this is not a cigar he's smoking. He has just decided that he doesn't want to be eco-friendly and has shifted his exhaust pipe to his mouth. So he's just venting this toxic black ash.
You look like a man who wants to be off of a wall.
And you look like a man who's got 2 broken legs.
Oh, that doesn't look like me at all. Hey.
He sort of pulls up a hammer, and he's like, oh. Think we're clever, are we?
Hey, I can throw a flute at you from a distance.
Oh, I dare you to try. Your mother was a fruit cart.
My mother was a nice woman. Now, come on.
I'm stuck to the bloody wall!
I did. I'm gonna. Yeah. Well. Oh yeah. Because I didn't see the check. I got a 19.
19. All right. With a 19, you sort of
So I didn't say it.
you sort of like start opening it, and every now and then you're not sure if he's like paying attention to you or not. And then as you're sort of doing it, you feel something hot burning the top of your head as he seems to like just be dipping his like exhaust leavings onto the top of your head. Son of a. And as he's done, he's like, all right, what about me legs?
I'm working on your legs.
Okay, you go to the supply closet, you sort of rummage around. Now, for some reason, you can't find his legs there. Most likely because Doliag has hidden them. However...
God, for fuck's sake, I just pick him up and I just... Come on!
Oh, I am not suffering this indignity. You are not carrying me like I'm some sort of weed helpless lamb. All right?
What? I can't hear you. It's all.
Right,
I can't
put me down. Put me down. Oh, I swear to God. You come around the front of me, I'll chop you on. As you basically then just sort of see 3PO backpack him up forward. All right. As this catastrophe is happening, Dolio, you sort of stabilize yourself in this first round as your bleeding sort of stops. You sort of still feel like a bit groggy. Your eyes, you can sort of see like these little sparkling lights and your ears ring with this horrifying sound like you've just like been next to an explosion.
Not again.
As we go to Auric Keen.
Well, Auric is listening to all of this, and he immediately suspects that it's the goblin. So he draws his pistol and heads directly to the observation room, simply because there's two other competent crew members on board who are more than capable of looking after whatever has happened in that explosion. And since Mr. Daliag has not responded, it's either he's incapacitated or he's working on the problem. But the explosion is undoubtedly caused by the goblin, not by my poor crewman. So I walk to the observation door and I open the comm into the observation room.
All right.
I'm not sure how you managed to do it, but you will not leave this vessel. If I need to demonstrate my absolute devotion to ensuring the success of this mission and the survival of my crew, let this demonstration suffice. Ambith, would you please reduce the oxygen content of that room to about 2%?
Right away, Captain. All of a sudden, you hear this hissing sound, and you hear banging on the door, like, you can't do this! It wasn't me! I had nothing to do with...
Remember that. That's the sensation you'll have when we blow you out of our airlock. Try to destroy my ship again, and I won't show you any mercy. Ambeth, you can restore the oxygen level to its normal percentage. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. You're bloody mad, you are.
Mad? I'm downright furious. Mr. Fell.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Any status on the explosion in our ship?
What do I see?
As Bastian is making his way through the ship towards the exploded medbay, the first thing you come across is, of course, the door that has been flung clean off its hinges. And you can see that there are several large fires, which, even though the suppressant is still in the air and slowly working on them, these large fires threaten to spread to other areas of the ship.
Okay, I'm going to go and do like a check to see whatever man-made object I can use to put whatever fire extinguisher I can find.
Okay, next to the door, you can actually see like this cylinder tube. If you've ever seen like kind of, the tennis ball tubes, that keep tennis balls, I guess. If you see them in there, basically you can grab one of them. This is the equivalent of a fire extinguisher, and you can attempt to throw it at the largest fire you see before you.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. I'm going to go, to see, that'll be a 16.
Okay. With a 16, you strike at it, and there's this huge explosion of water and this fire suppressant sand, silty kind of stuff that immediately smothers one of the larger flames. It also reveals a clear path from you to Dolyug, who you can see is lying unconscious on the floor.
Okay, I'm gonna grab like another one just to put in my pocket or whatever. Just run with it, and I'm gonna go check on Dolyug.
Okay. As you place it in your pocket, you sort of run over, make a medicine check while you sort of see if he's doing all right.
That is going to be a 16.
16. All right. With a 16, Dolyug, what is your resolve points at present?
2.
2? All right. With 2 resolve points, you kind of get the impression that he is, apart from being unconscious, he is stable, but in rather dire straits. He can't really take too much more punishment. His lacerations and various internal injuries are quite severe, and he'll need some TLC.
Okay.
That is all the actions we can take for Bastian. We move very swiftly on to Elias, who is currently charging down the corridor with a rather disgruntled droid hanging on your back. You let me go! And he's also like, if you speak Dwarvish, he appears to be saying some rather hurtful things about one's mother.
Stop it! Stop it! I run in, see Dolyug, and I go over and I put the droid next to Bastion. All right, heal him!
Hail him! He sort of looks at him and he sort of scowls and he pulls out what appears to be a gun, and he holds it to Dolyug's head, and he pulls the trigger. As he does so, a needle juts into his throat, and you see his breathing sort of start to ease up a bit as he begins to start work. He's got no bedside manner, so he's just sort of throwing him around like he's a doll being stitched up. So just whap, whap, thwap.
It's like a dog with a chew toy.
All right. And you heal 12 hit points. Now, you don't heal any stamina, just your hit points.
I'm back to full.
All right. So with that, yep, you suddenly open up your eyes. You are in a tremendous amount of pain.
Yeah, I point at Elias and like,
What? I trusted you!
It was you!
No, it wasn't me!
Look, guys, it's not the time for this. You're going to be fine, little buddy. I just need you to help me put out these fires. Just grab this thing, throw it at the wall, throw it at that fire right here. We'll be fine.
he doesn't come conscious and tell me what to do.
Look. You get your anger out on this. It'll be fine. Just take some anger out. You'll be good.
And I grab it and
Yep, you can throw it against one of the walls if you want to.
I'll try.
All right, make your attack.
I'm going to throw it at Elias.
You can throw it at Elias if you want.
I'm just glad you're okay, Dolly.
That'd be a 16.
What's your, yep. Bang! This huge torrent of water just erupts onto Elias as he's flung back. All of a sudden, you hear this sort of sparking sound coming from the droid. As Simon suddenly kicks his head up. Oh, where am I? Why are there fires?
I got you.
Oh. As Elias picks up the Simon, Simon sort of cradles him, like sort of like being held in his arms, and he looks at Elias deep in his soulful eyes with his big blue eyes, and Simon says, "I can't feel my legs. I can't feel my legs."
There was complications. Oh, God, it's going to be fine, Simon. It's going to be fine.
Simon's mechanical lip starts to quiver.
For fuck's sake. I'm going to hide his legs.
As we return to the top of initiative, we see Captain Ulrich. You seem to have a message on the comms from Embeth.
Yes.
Captain, we appear to have several visitors who are approaching the ship at an accelerated rate.
Describe accelerators.
On screen, there appears to be several miners who have these very large-looking drills. Well, they look like drills mostly not because they've got a massive drill bit on the front of it, but because there is a light, like an energy flame that seems to be kicking up to a very poignant edge. And they seem to be moving with very clear purpose towards the Starswift.
Embeth, can you point our port and starboard guns directly at them and then open up an external communications that I might loudspeak to them? Is that possible?
Yes, Captain, right away. You hear the gun sort of strain as they try to get an angle. Currently, they're approaching from an angle which the guns aren't having too much of a time, not too easy a time locking on. The coil gun, however, does aim directly at them. And as your broadcast opens, you hear the sounds of the microphone on the outside, sort of tuning up.
This is Captain Keane of the starship Starswift, acting on behalf of the Kai Makanen. Stop your forward progress and identify yourselves.
They seem to have no response to this. They continue their march forward. And at the exact same pace, which is a hurried walk, not a run, as it were.
If you do not stop your forward progression, I'll be forced to fire.
Captain, is there a problem?
Mr. Fell, would you please make your way up to the bridge as fast as you possibly can if the fires are out? Mr. Keane, I need you please to look out for potential individuals trying to board this ship. They appear to be armed with drilling equipment. They're heading towards the lower struts now. Do not let them on board under any circumstances. They have not responded to my questioning. Mr. Zagutu, is everything under control?
I don't know.
Your workshop is destroyed.
It's all right, Dolly. We'll get you a new. Oh, all right.
I understand you're unemotional distress, Mr. Zagutu, but is the ship capable of flying?
I think so.
Oh my God! All right.
All right. As you issue your commands, Baz, you make your way up to the bridge. Elias, you still have a blubbering robot in your hands.
He's coming along for the ride.
All right. You make your way towards what I like to call the dissuader. As you make your way over there. Doliag, you are also in tears at your workshop. You sort of hold the pieces of your treasured memories in your hands.
No, my drone, it's in there. Oh, God.
Thankfully, however, your drone is kept safe in a blast-resistant drone case for just such an event. This is not the first explosion that's ever happened in this workshop. The individuals on the outside do, however, manage to get to the strut, and they begin to drill. As they do so, the heat begins to, well, originally you think it sort of starts to melt the strut, but very quickly you see that the adaptive plates on the leg of the Starswift begin to shift and change and take on a more almost a ceramic type look to it, and it seems as though the heat from it is doing very little at all to that particular strut. As the three of them are,
Mr. Mr. Keene, would you persuade them to stop doing that?
Yeah, okay. And so I'll go to the out. What's the dissuader, by the way?
The coil gun.
I go to that, and I'm assuming I can't shoot them and not hit the ship.
No, you can. It's a 10-foot area, and you can encompass all 3 of them without hitting the ship.
Okay, so I'll hit. So it's like, I think they might die. Be okay with that?
Mr. Fell, are they actually causing damage to the ship?
Sir, it seems that they are not doing much damage. Whatever they're using is probably more fitted for ground types instead of metallic. So we're not going to be too worried. We have a stronger hull than that.
Warning shot, then.
Let's try it.
All right, I'll shoot. I'll make the explosion 5 feet from them.
All right. As the explosion detonates the rock behind them, I need... Ooh, okay, let's do this bit by bit. Number 1, Elias, make your attack. Number 2, let's go with Master Guy. Can you
16.
roll me a percentage, please?
36.
Excellent. What was the attack?
16.
16. With the 16, the explosion resonates throughout the asteroid that is filled with lethelium. Thankfully, however, no vein erupts.
Right, yeah. We should totally remember that next time we're still on a really explodey asteroid space area. Let's not do that again.
Oh, you sure? It worked the first time. It might work again the second time.
We're inside a shielded starship. I would imagine that they themselves would be more concerned with us attacking the lethelium. That's what I was hoping to see, whether, of course, the miners reacted to that or not.
As the dust clears, it seems as though they are not reacting at all. In fact, one of them appears to have a large shard of rock embedded in his back, and he does not seem to even be slowing. More concerning is the fact that he is in a mining uniform suit, and as per all attire, uniforms and things like that, has its own spacesuit. You know that outside your ship currently, there is no atmosphere. So any kind of breach in the armor like that is fatal.
Are these androids?
You can't really tell from the scans, but it could very well be.
Well, sir, what type of action do you want to take now? Do you want to get rid of them? Do you want to try and talk to them?
Don't talk to them.
I've tried talking to them, they didn't respond. We've tried to threaten them, they didn't respond. Suggestions?
All
Brother,
right.
these people look dead walking. At most, maybe we can hook up Embeth to the medical bay and maybe she can diagnose a body, but whatever these people have, we don't want it. Look at him. He's got a piece of rock the size of a fist in him and he's not even phased. This is dangerous in a way we don't understand.
I'm going to have to agree with Elias, sir. Let's, you know what? Let's just try and take him down as fast as we can. Otherwise, we don't have a lot of time here. I don't want to waste time on these people, especially when we got to figure out what's going on with the rest of the ship.
All right. Given what Trax told us about these individuals, I'm worried about a contagion, something that will spread to the rest of us if we bring them on board. Mr. Keene?
Yes, Captain?
Put them out of their misery.
Yes, Captain. I'll take a moment, bow my head, and say, under my breath, I dig up the earth to hide my soul. Without it, I feel so cold. And I'll fire.
Okay.
20.
20. All right. And Bastian, could I get a percentage roll from you, please?
Alrighty. Let me get the percentage.
Die?
Haha, caught him off guard.
I got one. You got one?
No, Bastian.
I got it.
I have faith in you. He's actually just
going to
rolling a
be-
bag of crisps.
Yeah.
I was hoping it.
18%.
18%. As you explode these poor individuals, roll your damage. Your damage on a coil gun is 40d4.
That's a lot.
Do you have do you have a rolling device, or would you like me to roll that for you?
Yeah, you go ahead and take care of that. Actually, hold on. I'm in a Roll20 game, just as it so happens. So I can do that. Roll 40 40d4.
Yep.
It's funny
Alrighty.
because out of all my bags,
95 damage.
Ooh.
They splatter. They explode. There is no trace of these guys left, except for these torsos, these armless, headless torsos that just sort of lump down in small piles nearby what remains of their equipment. Now, as this happens, you do notice that you have exposed a lithelium vein. It has not detonated again, luckily, but you're fairly sure a third blow in this area will set off a chain reaction.
Well, good luck has ran out. Captain, no more gunshots on the media. We can't risk it. Look at that. And I'll send them the feed.
And you can see the glowing crystal of the lithelium.
I'm not sure what we're dealing with here, but it looks as if there's something that has caused these individuals to lose their humanity. Mr. Fell, would you just watch out for any further miners making their way here? I need to go and speak to our chief engineer. Give me a few minutes and then join me downstairs. We'll have to make our attempt on this asteroid one way or another.
Aye, Captain.
I'll go down to engineering.
All right. In engineering,
myself to my drone so I don't have to walk.
yep. In engineering, you can see floating slightly above the ground is, of course, our beloved Furblin, who is hovering in his 4-propellered drone.
Like a floating squeaky toy. It's amazing.
What happened, Mr. Zagutu?
They go off. They blew up the thing.
Are you all right?
I'm in the workshop. It's gone.
I understand. Rest assured, we will get you a new one when we arrive back at the fleet.
This one had all my traps in it.
I understand, but look at it this way. The memory of those traps might help you make better ones in the future, yes?
You think?
I know that you're capable of making something far better than what you had before, absolutely. Think of it as a challenge, perhaps, to do better than what you had.
And Dahlia Young's a lot more happy now, ish, not too.
Aww.
Perked up.
Huzzah. In
And
fact,
it's going about getting stuff.
And they say his heart grew 3 sizes that day.
in fact, the kind and inspiring words of Captain Ulrikeen have in fact strengthened Doliog's resolve, so you may restore a resolve point to your character.
It's like, you're going to get new toys. Ooh, I'm ready.
All right.
Now, we have to go onto that asteroid, and I need you to come with us. Are you going to be able to do that?
I think I might be able to, but the harpoons, they're gone.
Then we will just have to make sure that we don't get stuck in any of that stickiness. And if we do, it's going to be up to you to get us out, since you're going to be flying, I assume.
Yeah.
So please make sure that you don't land on any surface that you haven't double-checked, all right?
All right. Yeah, I mean,
And the Starswift is perfectly capable of flying, yes?
it's just the engineer room. It shouldn't affect everything else.
I understand that. Is there a particular room that you want to stay in whilst your workshop is in ruins?
I'll go be in the med bay.
Very well. In which case, I'm very glad that you survived the explosion. Now, I'll open up the comms to everybody. All right, report to Cargo Bay. Let's get this on. Let's get the show on the road. We might as well get onto this asteroid. Mr.
Right.
Keene, please bring your best game with you.
Yes, brother. And I take Simon and I put him back in the med bay.
Oh, thank you, Master Elias. I don't know how I ended up in the middle of an explosion.
Your beautiful soul. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
With the
Oh.
7-3
Oh, and
haircut.
please, take this with you as well. He sort of hands you one of his syringe guns. It's a stim pack.
Why? Thank you, Simon.
Stay safe, sir.
Be well. I'll tell you some computer jokes I know when I get back. And I lightly tap him on the face and give him a salute. And head out.
He sort of gives you this sheepish wave, holding his heart as you depart.
I love him.
As you make your way into the Cargo Bay area, all of you are now standing very, very imposing in your disembarkation uniforms and attire, looking very spiffy and very smart, with all your equipment, your headpieces, your armor, your flashlights, your weapons at the ready. As you prepare to disembark, the captain has some final words of encouragement.
Don't screw up.
Feeling his words resonating in your heart, the landing bay door opens and reveals the sight of carnage that was unleashed by the Starswift's main cannon. As you leave this area, you can kind of, your readings begin to come in, various radiation signs from the rock and the minerals, no atmosphere, low gravity, so there is still a gravity source, but you can jump very easily about 20 foot in the air and return safely to a landing. As you make your way across the precipice of the large holes that have been made before the ship, you can see the three bodies lying on the ground, still sort of smoldering.
Dolly, do you mind putting us... Oh, I apologize, Captain. Dolly, could you please put some lights up around in the general area so we have a warning signal if we see anyone in the outer rim trying to get at us?
All right.
Is that all right?
Okay.
As he turns it on, several rainbow-colored lights start flashing.
Well, they know we're here already anyway, I suppose. Don't make contact with any of the bodies. We don't know what's affecting them.
You are aware that your hazard suits, which protect you from environments and things of the matter, should help with most pathogens should they be working. It could very well be that theirs were not, but whatever the case is, your current suits should provide adequate protection against the majority of pathogens.
Yeah, I'm not risking my crew on that. Yeah.
All right.
Captain, that drill could use it for some damage. It's really hot, and flesh doesn't like hot.
It's if it's still working, I suppose. Why not?
You take a look at it. It could probably be coerced into working at some point, but in its current state, definitely not.
Just want to take one, fly it back into the bay, drop it, walk back.
I remember, we're not here to kill people, although, I say, looking over at the three bits of corpses, we had no choice, so we won't fire first unless we absolutely have to. If they start firing at us, however, do not show any mercy whatsoever. We're not here to be heroes. If the situation's too hot, we'll get back in the ship and we will leave them on this rock. As far as I'm concerned, no job is worth the lives of my crew. We really nearly lost individuals because of this little mission, and I'm not particularly happy about that. We are looking for the captain, Captain Del Rossi, just in case you don't remember his name.
Captain, might I, two things. One, I think I can scout ahead, maybe give us some forewarning. I know how to keep out of sight. And two, if one of us gets taken over by this, I know for you it'd be very hard to tell if for us if you were taken over, because you wouldn't act very different. So I think a code word would work very well. So if I say pumpernickel, you all say scallywag, and so that way we know that we're still in control of our faculties. And if someone doesn't, we know something's up.
I mean, or we shoot them.
Oh, shoot them! Yeah, that's right. We could just do that.
It's remarkable thought there, Mr. Keene. All right, scallywag it is. How appropriate. Right, if you're going to go ahead, then that's fine. Mr. Fell, will you be all right on the planet's surface? Well, the asteroid surface. It's not a planet, really. It doesn't count towards your thing.
I still popped some pills before we left, so I'll learn how to deal. It doesn't. It feels so tight in this suit. I don't like it. Yeah, I'll be fine, Captain. Well, do what we gotta do.
All right, then let's do it very quickly. Mr. Keene, off you go.
All right, I'm going to scout ahead and be all stealthy. And
all right,
kill myself in the process.
All right, please roll me a stealth check. Also, Doliag, you said you were going to load one of those broken guns into the broken drills into the ship. As you reach down to pick it up, you sort of lift it, and you find that there's almost this viscous, clear membrane that sort of seems to be caked onto the handles where you imagine they were holding it. You sort of feel it, touch it, slimy. But apart from that, it's nothing unusual. You throw it.
When I put it back in the ship, I put it in a little sealed box.
Yep, you put it in a sealed box on the ship, you close the box, you lock the box, and you come back out. You sort of like, there you go. What was that about contagion, Captain? It's like it's on everything now.
All four of my grubby hands are just...
Just a quick rub.
Yeah. Bastian's about to sneeze, and Dolia goes... All right. Okay. All right, so what do we get for the stealth check?
I swear I almost nat one, but then I bumped into my dice dish, and it got a 22.
All right.
Yeah.
So, with a 22, as you begin to make your way forward, slightly ahead, you see that the tunnel networks that you were sent down seem to be connected by hundreds of tunnels. Like you passed 4 or 5 different ways through that would have taken you off route on your way in. As you start moving forward, you can see what appears to be a glowing light coming from up ahead.
I'm gonna get closer until I can get a good look at it.
All right. As you sneak quietly and cautiously forward, you see the mining colony spread out. You see several tents have been laid out. You could see that there is a makeshift mess hall. You can also see that there is several lighting pillars that have been placed, and they all seem to be running off an electrical circuit. The pulsing seems to be coming from a generator, a large glass-tubed machine that appears to have like a small eel-like reptile captured within the glass. It sort of seems to swim in this electrical current with the electricity sort of like crackling and striking the glass. And the generator seems to be just churning and chugging away.
Don't see that every day. All right, so I scan her out and say, "All right, everyone, move up. I'll keep scouting forward. I've found our generator. Maybe have Delia look at it."
All right. as you begin to make your way forward, everyone can now see the mining facility, and you can also see Elias further up ahead. Elias, as you move forward, you feel something sticky beneath your feet. As you look down, there are translucent fibers like hair just sort of clinging to your boots and clinging to your shoulders and clinging to your arms. You sort of swap them off, but they're just there.
What? Found something. I'm going to, and they're not coming from anything?
No, they seem to. It's almost like dust particles hanging in the air, but like almost like these really thin noodles that just seem that if you walk into it, you wouldn't notice it until it touches you, and then you can see it on you.
Got it. So I take one, and I take my knife and I put it behind my my light, so that, Captain, are you seeing this? These things are everywhere. I think we might have found the contagion. They stick to our shit. So this, I don't know what you want to do about it. Maybe they're sticky. Maybe it's the mold.
What do you think, Mr. Zagusu?
Could be. I'd say stay away from it. Is there another path?
I look around.
As he looks around, could you make a strength check, please, Mr. Elias?
I'm great at these, guys. Oh, yeah. This is going to go great. Alrighty. Hey, a 15 on a +0.
All right. As you make a 15, you sort of reach forward as you sort of look around, when suddenly your legs seem to be pulled out from under you, and you get dragged about 20 feet backwards into towards what appears to be a dark hole about half the size of you. And as you do so, you manage to cling on to the ground. And as everyone sort of sees this happen, we will find out next time when we return to the Chronicles of the Chronicles of the Starswift. Dang it! You know what? This will happen every week. It'll be an ongoing.
We need a jar. A nickel every time.
a nickel every time you utter the words. So thank you very much, guys, for joining us. If you enjoyed what you saw today, then hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for more episodes of the Starswift Chronicles. I have been Michael from Ask a Pathfinder, and be sure to stick around and listen to our post-game review as we discuss the events of today's game, how we went, how we think it could have been improved. If you're looking at, obviously improving your own RPG skills, then yeah, join us in a second. So, great game, guys. Thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a little slower than what I thought would happen because, well,
things kept happening.
Things kind of spiraled a bit out of control.
It was slow, and then it got really fast.
Yeah, it did. It did. I did definitely not plan for half of this game. So of course, to kick us off this discussion for today, we are going to start, thanks to the Dice of Destiny, with Elias.
All right. Yeah, it was a little bit slower. I'm not sure what we would have cut, though, like what we should have done faster. I can't quite put up, maybe rolled less natural ones. I don't know. But I mean, it was fun for sure. I think we each took the opportunities to make them creative and fun and have a nice story with them. There's definitely, I want to shout out to Guy. That was awesome with the airlock. That was awesome.
Oh yeah, the bit with the goblin. Yeah, that was so cool.
And the first time you actually made a nihilistic attempt at comforting someone on the show, so that was really cool. It's like, I need him functioning, so I'm going to tell him good things. Or was it that he actually has a little bit of person left? Who knows? Who knows? I'm interested in finding out.
I just want to know what his self-affirmations are, when he goes to the mirror and he goes, everyone around you is more inferior than you. That is as good as it gets.
Sometimes other people are kind of useful. Ish. Okay, yeah, no, we're good for the day. Let's
I got this.
No, I got yeah. All right, and speaking, of course, of the ones with self-affirmations, Dollyoung, you were inspired and encouraged today. How did you go?
Oh yeah, that was great. That was wonderful. Yeah, gotta love them dice. Yeah.
Oh man, they were against you there. I mean, I warned Elias about it like earlier on because a 15 is what he got in order to dismantle them, and that was fine. But you needed a 20 to like convert them into something useful. So I was kind of like, he seemed really excited about the 20. About the 15. So he'd have a good idea of, all right, maybe I can get a 20, maybe I can't. Dollyoung probably more likely to, but apparently the dice gods have more interesting things in mind.
Damn you, Nuffle!
Oh my gosh.
It was entertaining though.
Well, that's good because I mean, obviously, when you take someone out of any kind of interaction, like by being paralyzed or by being unconscious,
I was hoping that Bastion would try and like CPR me so I could be like, Melissa, and continue on. Basically, do the same thing that Simon was about to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I think that was really well handled by Sebastian, and I quite enjoyed that little aside, as chaotic as it was. Master Keen, how did we go for today?
My crew tried to blow up my ship.
No, it was the Goblin.
It was the Goblin! It was that little bastard from his locked room. With a sandwich.
Once the fires were sort of out and everyone was throwing fire suppressant balls at each other, I almost had this image. It's a ridiculous film called Zoolander. And in it, Zoolander is having a petrol fight with each other in a petrol station. I kind of had this, it's like, this is what it's going to happen. They're going to waste all of the fire suppressant and my ship is going to blow up because they were doing their supermodel. Anyway, it was no, absolutely. I think these things happen and one has to sort of follow through and see where they go. I don't think the episode was slow necessarily. I think it was just a case of this was a sidetrack which has given Dollyoung something to play with. And I like the fact that you were so emotionally distraught over the whole thing. Was that it made sense, right? And we got the sense that you were genuinely unhappy about this whole thing. So I like that. And whether Keen was trying to help him emotionally because he cares about Dollyoung, or because he needs his chief engineer to be on top of his game. This is Keen. I think it's probably a little bit of both, but he'd never admit to the first option. At least that's my thinking of it. I don't know. We'll have to see. This whole thing has gone belly up, and there's a very large part of me which just wants to say, get back onto the ship, blow up the asteroid. There's enough lithium in it that we can cause this thing just to go nova. We return to the dwarves and say, this is all we found was the escape pod. He jettisoned, the ship blew up. Sorry for you. There's nothing to retrieve. Pay us some money.
Well, I mean, that is always an option. The nature of the role-playing game world is that
absolutely
it is your story. But yes, I'm definitely alluding to something really, really amusing. Actually, some of the private jokes that I think some people may be noticing from the crew members has actually come about from Game Zero, where we led into a few things, especially from you, Bon. I've definitely seen like a few things that were happening that were giggled about.
Oh yeah, it's like a definite repeat of just seeing this all slowly go back down the track of sadness.
But you guys at home will get a chance to actually witness the Game Zero at some point later on. But before we get too distracted by that, of course, Bastion had a pretty exciting period.
Yeah. This is it's a lot of running around and trying to make sure I can put out some fires and save Dolly. I didn't think I was going to make it in time. And I also didn't really expect for, like, right now my recording system's just getting messed up too. We had a little hiccup there in between, and I'm like, oh gosh, everything's going to work out. We'll be fine. It's all going to be fine. Oh God, we're going to die. There's fires everywhere. It's going to be the end of it.
I love how one of the things I do love about Bastion is his connection to the ship. You know what I mean? Like aboard the ship, Bastion is just so confident and so sure. But then almost the instant his feet touched terra firma, there was a whole change, and I loved that. It was just so visceral. You know what I mean?
It's a very obvious thing where it's like, I don't want to leave the ship. This is my home. Dahlia, can you save me? Do you have a droid thingy that'll just make me feel like I'm back on the ship for a little bit? We'll pretend that we're there.
On the topic of the ship, I got to fire the gun. Oh man, that was awesome.
You did. You got to fire it twice in a giant asteroid made of petrol.
Yeah, I got to add my first prayer and everything.
All right. I gotta ask. Even if it's not for my sake, for the fans, I have to ask. Did you guys legitimately forget where you were, or was it just like a calculated risk?
No, it was from my side. It was intentional.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure about that because I was fairly.
I had to trust the captain. I'm like, guys, just let's not forget. Giant explodey island. Just in the middle of nowhere, and we can kill them by ourselves.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how to handle that. I feel like if it detonated, that would have been the shortest web series I've ever been a part of. just like, well, technically, you're inside of what is effectively an asteroid filled with plutonium, and you're going to detonate it.
Right.
Okay, let's. Space-time continuum. You're trapped into a vortex, and we're now playing in the Forgotten Realms setting.
That really was a calculated risk. The risk part was how volatile was the asteroid.
Yeah.
That I didn't know, but I wanted to test the results. So we shot at them. They didn't stop moving. They came close. We spoke to them. They didn't stop moving.
Yeah.
So then once we were then shooting directly at them to see whether they had any form of free will, because it's fine for people to be told go and attack the ship and to ignore the audio stuff and to ignore sort of over the head shots. But once you start shooting directly at them, that's when hopefully there was going to be some kind of response. Right?
Although maybe there wasn't enough time.
Maybe there wasn't enough time. I mean, yeah.
And now we're certain that we're not killing people.
Fire a warning shot.
Right.
Do you surrender now?
So you see, the Keen's whole thing is he's about testing other people's resolve. So like with the Goblin, he pointed the gun at him in the first interrogation, and the second one, he just emptied all the air out of the room. So that's his kind of his thing, I suppose, is that he tests other people's resolve, and quite possibly to the detriment of himself too. It's like, well, I'll be less chicken than you always, unless I have absolutely no chance. So it was a bit of a risky move.
Well, I think that's what makes it interesting. I mean, you guys who have joined us from obviously, the other Bacon Battalion show know that I'm a very big fan of risk taking. I'm a huge fan of people who are both willing to kind of test the boundaries of a game, because that's where the fun is. That's where it is. And I'll tell you this outrightly. I'm not just going to TPK the whole group with a random check. That's just not how I roll. It's not going to happen. If I TPK you, it's because, you guys earned it.
Because you blew up your engineering bay.
Yeah, well, again, a lot of people say this as well, that there are certain types of people that like to pull their punches, especially for web shows. I'd like to inform everyone at home, and of course everyone at this table, I ain't one of those people. I will blow you up, and as Elias found out in episode 1, I will cut a guy.
That was good. That was a fun experience.
So
so many firsts today.
So thank you very much, guys, for joining us once again. I have been Michael from Ask a Pathfinder. If you want to find my stuff, you can find me on facebook.com/AskAPathfinder. I also offer free coaching and advice services for Pathfinder and other RPGs as well. You can find me on Discord at discord.me/AskAPathfinder. I have a YouTube channel, so feel free to drop by and say hi. It's got tons of really fun little bits that I've learned while playing Pathfinder in my many years of playing. And hopefully I'll see you there. We have some other things to plug today, of course. Sebastian, what do we have coming from your end of things?
You can find me on Twitch at the Duke of Doom. I will stream semi-regularly, and after these recordings, I will normally stream. So,
What do you stream?
everything under the sun.
Having a shower while eating an eggplant.
Yes, exactly.
That's playing Sonic for the 90th time.
Normally I play on PS4, although occasionally I can be found on some PC games. And soon I'll be doing another role-playing group once that group solidifies. So, all depends. Cool. He does all sorts of things.
Right on. All right, and Josh, what have we got coming from you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Ne'er-do-well, Josh Abstock. I'll be getting active pretty soon, so we can have fun with that.
Sweet. And of course, the ever-talented Bon.
Yes, you can find me at definitely Bon for all social media. I'm on Twitch a few times a week. I'll play some variety games or whatnot. I do some work with Color Circuit, fantastic channel where we just play a bunch of video games, board games, all sorts of crazy stuff. And it'll be a good time.
And of course, the man who needs no introduction. Of course, Mr. Guy from How to Be a Great Game Master and Bacon Battalion and a whole bunch of other really fun and cool and exciting things. What have we got from you?
So this week I'll talk about worldanvil.com, which is a great resource for collating all of your campaign thoughts, notes, and ideas, and that's featured on the Great GM channel every Tuesday, actually, where we unpack how to evolve and develop thoughts within your campaigns. They're a fantastic website. They're in an alliance with us at the moment. I'll do Ask a Pathfinder. He runs a good channel. You should go and check him out. Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, just head on over to www.greatgamemaster.com, where you'll find it all aggregated together, so you can choose what you want to watch.
Indeed, guys. And if you want to see this and more shows like this, do leave some feedback in the comments below. We love hearing what you guys think, and we are very proactive with suggestions in the comments. So leave your thoughts, leave your ideas, and we'll definitely get to it. And as always, guys, from us here at the crew of the Starswift, keep your dice rolling and make sure that your ideas stay mindworm-free. Have a good one, guys.